Hi guys, welcome to this week's episode of Earnings Season with me, RT Rowe, Randy Rowe.
Okay, sorry.
And sorry to talk over you, sir. What's your name?
Danai.
Alright, and this is Earnings Season, and I will jump straight into the intro. I have a guest with us this week. I admit Danai did the honors. Then you introduced him earlier. Before he got here, you were saying the
Man, the myth, the legend.
Oh, wow.
Cue drum roll.
There we go. All right, and we're here at BAM Production Studios as always with BAM in the background. Big up BAM.
Shout out to BAM.
Yeah, so here we're
Hey
with
guys,
Ryan
happy to be
Strawn. I'll say your last name or you want me to beat that out?
Strawn, doesn't matter.
All right, there we go.
I live with it.
There we go. You know what? I should ask here. I say it too nicely, so we can't edit it out. Should I say your Twitter username?
Yeah, please.
All right, so get ready for the mob. 5 Soul Lane.
Can't be much worse than no.
Oh yeah? All right, guys, you hear him say can't much worse than no. Prove him wrong. Yes, every week I do a shout out to Ryan, and here he is, a good brethren of mine. So Ryan, 5 Soleil. So what's up, Ryan?
Good, man. It's good to be here.
Happy to have you here. You're
Big
blessing
up,
us
big up, big
this
up.
week on the podcast. Thanks to all the people giving the feedback. I like the feedback all the time. I'm always hearing it. Don't get me wrong. Even if you don't see me immediately, because it is taken into consideration. So thank you to everybody who has given some feedback. I'm going to jump right into it. Last week, did anything interesting in the market happen this week? That silence means no. No.
Anna is going to jump in.
No. You know what? There is some interesting stuff in the market. I don't know if I want to drop any market talk just yet because I want to hear Rand's view on it. So let's go market talk early. I think one interesting thing happened. MPC dropped a big dividend, right? And you know, you guys who know me know I don't give a damn about dividends, but you can't knock a good dividend. You can't knock a good way of making money. That's free money. It's what, over 10%?
It's not just about there, 9+.
Yeah. 9 plus when it's US dollars, so
Yeah.
it's attractive.
Very attractive. Yeah, guys. Wow. So there's your tip. Thank you for listening to this episode of Earnings.
Buy the rights issue.
Yeah. Well, all right. So what Ryan is talking about the rights issue is there's almost no shares available.
Yeah, zero.
Yeah. The
I
people.
looked.
Yeah.
I was trying.
Yeah, I wanted. I couldn't get them.
Let this be a lesson to all of you guys, including me, who ignored it at IPO. Yeah. If you don't,
Speaking of it being a US dollar dividend, at IPO you could have bought it for $130.
Oh,
The dividend in US is a good conversion rate.
can you imagine that? Man?
yeah.
That's crazy.
You get the dividend today is that's a conversion rate of 138, I think.
Yeah. That's win-win.
Win-win.
Yeah. You know, big up the JC for attracting that kind of
shout
talent.
out to JSC. I mean, a shout out to MPC because at the end of the day, they conceptualize some projects and they've moved them close to completion. Granted, they're investors, but it's a good thing to see these projects coming on stream, like Paradise Park in Westmoreland.
Big deal. So that's what they actually own.
Yeah,
One of the things they
one
own.
in, I think Cayman and El
No,
Salvador.
I think
or something.
they have a Central America. They have an investment there, and the Cayman is where actual fund is the
There we go.
MPC fund.
So the fund that exactly. So that's exactly how it
They
is.
made up. So yeah.
But yeah, I remember looking at the quarterly report, the June, and it was underwhelming to me. It was 1 cent per share. So when I saw the dividend, that's when my interest peaked.
Yeah.
8 cents per share.
Yeah, you want to get the
that
secret
changed.
sauce? They give them the secret sauce. It's not so much as secret sauce. We can talk it. The secret sauce. I mean, well, then I mentioned it to me. Then I actually sent me a message during the week about it. And it's like, yo, they're paying a dividend. How? So we check. And so if you've read any of those, this is an ad. Go to evermickle.com. So if you read any of the articles there, you'd have seen me talk about dividends can only be paid from retained earnings, right? And it was until the last set of results, they had negative in retained earnings, so they couldn't spend any money. Yet they've just declared a big dividend.
Big
also.
dividend. All the IPO money they got was paid out. I think they paid out 10.5 million.
10 million plus, yeah.
10 million plus, and we gave them 11 million. So the money was done.
Yeah.
So
US.
they couldn't be paying a $1 million dividend if they didn't get $1 million from us and didn't earn $1 million as at June.
So it
dividend is
means
great.
it would seem like a lot of money is about to hit them or
Yeah.
has hit them.
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you what jumped out at me. I'll be honest, it's one of the few prospectuses I did not read. I completely missed it.
I started and stopped.
I'm a bad professional.
Yeah, terrible.
And the MD&A came out in June. I never read anything, and I usually read all this stuff. And you know, you have a revision of your thoughts. You go back having seen the dividend, which prompted it. And I saw where they said they build JPS, and I was just like, Chano.
Yeah.
They send the invoice.
Just start billing
Give me
JPS.
some
still.
cash. No, you know, because the government pay them for the lights and everything, the street lights and all that, $7 billion plus. And, you know, because that's through the Paradise Park thing. And obviously, Paradise Park is up and running and has generated cash. Well, you know, electricity to sell for cash.
I don't know if
And they
Randy...
paid out
Oh,
theirs.
go finish.
No, that's it.
I don't know if Randy remembers my first message to him about MPC. This was right after the June. I opened the report and I saw 1.11. So I thought it was $1 per share they were making. It's like, Randy, yo, they're making $1 per share and we gave them $1 for the IPO. Yo, there's something going on here, man. And then Randy's response was cents.
Oh, man.
It's 1 cent.
But they report in US cents, right?
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah,
Yes,
which
yeah.
has been throwing off a couple of people,
Yeah,
including me
yeah,
sometimes, because a couple of companies do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, MPC, going back to MPC, and what you were saying, yeah, it was 1 cent. That US thing throws a lot of
Yeah,
people
yeah,
off, because I
definitely.
remember it threw us off with, what's first? Where's
Signals?
first? Signals threw us
Signals,
off
yeah.
with first. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
another one that, well, I think you brought it to my attention
Did I?
first on Twitter. Yeah, man. No, like, it was John Jackson. Shout out to John.
Yeah, boy, I think it might vex me, because I gave him some heat the last two
Yeah,
episodes.
well, let's balance it out. Look at it. So John pointed it out, and then I thought, boy, this is great. I mean, 11 cents, you do the conversion, whatever. Didn't work out for me, but it's worth now 15.
It's moving.
Worked out for somebody.
Yeah, definitely.
So there you go, you know. But yeah, I think there's a deficiency with the US dollar conversions and how it's being read or interpreted across the market. So obviously it's an opportunity for somebody to do that
Yeah.
and do it well.
Yeah. So
And make some clients some money.
yeah, and I think
themselves.
You're right. It's just a funny thing. I wonder if it's when MPC came out. It's just, it came out around a lot of other little things.
Yeah.
So that it just, you didn't get a lot of attention on it at
Yeah.
first. So even because I read it, I remember reading about it. I remember seeing Angela Rainford. And I
Rainford,
thought, my mother had a friend named Angela Rainford. I was wondering if it's the same person. I don't know. To this, I don't know. But that's what pulled it. Wow. So that's what pulled me to it. At first, I looked at it's all right, but coming around same time, I think Lab was soon.
Something
Lab was
was coming,
announced.
yeah.
Then there were a couple of things that you're like, boy,
Yeah.
I don't know.
To me, everything else was better. So
Yeah, and Wigton was flying then too.
Oh, yeah.
Wigton was flying then
Yeah.
too. Because Wigton did just list and he was, is this really going to be, is there really money here? That's everybody was wondering if it was going to work or not, right? And they would miss the second thing, because if you think about it in simple terms, MPC is essentially just a second Wigton, except it's for solar.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And even in the brokerage community, I can tell you, there was a complaint that the broker probably never did the best job of informing the markets about really making people know what this had to do with.
Yep.
So there was the diaspora conference, and Angela spoke there, and we got to learn about Paradise Park and how far she's taken it from. It was really great to learn that. But I didn't know that same MPC had an interest in that venture, which would have kind of painted it differently for me, because nobody's going to buy into something they don't understand, right?
I think they said it in the prospectus, to be honest.
They did, but so when we come back to the broker now, I don't think that was communicated maybe
yeah,
the
man.
best.
Yeah,
in fact,
definitely.
you're saying that right. You're right. It was kind of light. And who was it?
I don't remember.
It's probably Jen or something like that.
Yes.
Anytime you say light, listen to that,
yeah.
it's probably Jen.
Could have been. I don't remember.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Let me start over. Let me start. Let me say, you know what? I'll be honest. I'm sorry. You guys heard my honest reaction. I'm not, Jen is cool, but I don't think they're not as hungry as some of the other houses. You get me?
I know what I mean.
Yeah, and if you get spoiled, we are spoiled. Mayberry spoiled us over the last few years.
That's true. That's true.
Being
That's
very
very true.
aggressive and putting
That's
the
true.
bar very high.
Yep.
So everybody has to kind of come that high to do it. And then, guys, hold on. If you thought you heard Thunder a while ago, you're going to hear it again. SSL also used to be very, very, very aggressive with, when I say aggressive, in a good way.
Yeah.
They're doing a listing. It was very good. You knew what it... Let me introduce, let me pause here, guys. This is a tangent. Let me pause here and let me introduce Rand properly. All right? Rand Strawn. Let me give Rand a proper interest. So Rand Strawn is, we say where you work? You want to say where you work?
GK Capital.
Yes, usually we say we're not investment advisors here. We can't say that this week because Rand is actually an investment advisor. Yeah, he is. He knows his stuff. I won't go too deep, but Rand is a good part of the market. Rand, I've known Rand for years. I will tell you, anybody hear me talk about my creamy story? I still own 6,000 creamy shares, which I bought at $1 because Rand Strong convinced me to buy it.
You remember those days?
Yes, yeah, I will never forget that creamy. By the way, they are now worth a lot more. So thank you, Rand, for that. And that's the last time I'll mention Creamy. So thank you for putting
remember those days.
Yeah,
Creamy do it.
Yeah, Creamy has done very, very well. I bought those shares at $1, and they're now a lot more, maybe 600% more.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, over time.
Yeah,
so Rand has been in the game even longer than that. So that was a company that he helped bring to market.
Yeah, brought the mandate to the broker. Probably the first advisor to do something like that.
Yeah, and I think, and this is Randy Rowe speaking, no one else. I think that is the best listing that SSL has done in my. You guys who work in industry need to shut up when I say things like this and keep yourselves out of trouble. Randy Rowe is saying, I think that is the best listing that SSL has done since I haven't seen anything as impressive. Maybe
JSC
came close.
They did JSC.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, JSC was also
a good listing.
Yeah. Were you there during that time?
I was a wealth manager at the time. So in terms of communicating with the market about the deal, I did a lot of that.
Yeah, but it's funny, it's like the market's completely different now from then, you know? You remember them they believe it, Rand had to convince me to buy shares way back then.
The ice cream leader, the dominant market player, probably had off top of my head less than 300 applications.
Then,
6 years ago,
it was completely different.
If that was they'd have maybe 3,000.
Yo, JetCon had
just like that.
Yeah, JetCon had maybe. I don't think JetCon had 500 people when they listed.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, no, 1,000 is a small listing.
If you did 1,000 then, I remember Alaska was 2010, or 2010, 10. Alaska probably combined had 1,000. The three Alaska companies.
Wow.
Can you imagine Lasco going public now? Lasco.
Name brand.
brand. The huge company. No, you can't ramp with them. No, they're up there with Cinco.
Yeah,
in the same. I mean, not in terms of size,
value, but they do $7 billion in revenues, manufacturing alone. So if you talk distributors, you're probably talking another 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 billion. So really and truly, manufacturing and distributors are running close to Wisynco. I think Wisynco is about 25 billion, thereabouts. So, granted, a lot of money we're talking about on both sides, but it takes some doing, you know?
Boy, it takes some doing, but I'm just, I'm literally talking to you and I'm remembering what it was like back then. You used to have to beg people to come onto the market tonight.
Literally. Literally. You had to show them the true value of it. In fact, I was reminiscing, and I had the audio footage of the JSE for the JSE investor briefing before they went to market. And I remember at the time I was saying that we really had to sell it to people that, listen, as this entity grows, as the market grows, the JSE stock itself will grow because of low interest rates.
Yeah.
Because you had you had companies that were still coming to market like household names, because you were probably 2 years removed from Lasco. Creamy would have been within that year. So brands people use were coming to market, but at the time there was no Wisynco.
Yes.
In fact, at the time there was talk that the junior market was going to be wound up. With the change of government,
let's not even touch that, because I have avoided talking about it for a long time. I still have people up for that.
Of course, but
not talk of it wound up. People forget it was wound up. It was wound up.
Yeah, because they had to give some persons the refunds or their incentive retroactively.
Yes.
I think because it was 2016, it had come to a close.
Matter of fact, we had like a slew of listings when Key listed. They were like on the last day, like 4 companies listed just to catch
December 31st, 2015.
Just to catch it. Yeah, so the junior market was actually ended. It restarted when, I think, I'd never ever touch politics, but I do it for one because it's a matter of fact. It restarted when the JLP ran on the campaign. One of the campaign points was that they will reinstitute the market. They won. Audley Shaw really did reinstitute the market, and we are all thankful for it. Because no. The lab listed with 2,500 and something applicants, and that was a small listing.
That's ridiculous.
No.
You think about
no, right?
2.5.
2.5. No. The market has changed back then. So I said that to say that Rand is no slouch. Rand knows his stuff. He's been around for a long time. Sometimes, I like to give quick descriptions. He's like me with more control. I get myself in trouble. Right? Yeah, I get myself in trouble all the time. Ryan is more measured. Is more sensible there. So let me jump right into it. Background. Give some background in your work, your life.
Sure. Background. Let's start with work. So, I am I've been doing this 9 years.
No, you've been doing it longer than that.
Well, in the business formally, because 07 was, 07 across
yeah. But we're in 2019 now, bro.
Yeah, so I went to
10
Mayberry.
years is 2009.
I went to I went to Mayberry 2010.
Yeah.
January 2nd.
Yeah.
Started there. Well, investment advisor. Grew, went to SSL, did 4 years there. That was when I started in management, developing teams and having my own portfolio the whole time for portfolio of clients. And my whole premise was trying to bridge the gap between research and sales.
I remember you wrote something about that on Twitter once.
Yeah, so many times people would always take their approach of saying they want to do sales or they want to do research. But then if you think about it, if you're in a bar and you happen to cross paths with some rich guy or, wealthy person, and you end up talking and he says to you, yo, what do you do? Apart from, buy drinks and chat and, have a good time. And you may say, well, I'm an investment advisor. He may say, well, funny enough, my mom just left me $85 million. She unfortunately passed. What should I do with it? If you say, I need to call my research team, let's meet up on Monday, you'll never get $1 of business from that person.
That's right.
No, so my thing was...
You see why this guy's on the show now, right?
So my thing was always, well, I need to be able to pull information on the spot, be it according to that circumstance, to be able to help that individual at that moment. Or I could be on a plane, I could be anywhere. If somebody asks me a question, then I should be able to answer it. So I dedicate a lot of my time towards research and sales. I actually just thought that more people would have done that.
You'd be surprised in the things that you think people do logically, right? That they don't do.
And that was the case in 2010. I must have been 27, so I'm 36 and I was 27.
Wow.
Nobody was doing it.
Yeah, the industry, yes.
That's
that issue. Even though we still got that issue.
Yeah, even though, so when you talk to people, I think we have a resurgence, but a lot of that is not necessarily players in the business. There are investors who will then say, I don't respect my advisor because I know more than the person.
Well, he said, call my name when he call my name straight up.
Say, I don't respect my advisor because I know more than them.
Yeah, and what's more is not that like I know more than them, so them send him into a 3% play instead of a 20% play. It's that, I'm sending myself into a 50% play, and these guys are sending me into a loss.
You can't even have a conversation. That's the problem.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
That's the problem. It's not even so much you may know something at the time, but the thing is, this other person does not know
at all.
Okay, best example. Somebody may say yesterday, did you hear last night? Somebody may have said, I heard, no. Somebody may say, I have a bond, right? GOJ 2022, and I hear the government's buying them back. And advisor may be like, what do you mean they're buying it back? Where you heard that? Where you heard that? I'm like, but it was in the Friday papers.
Yeah, right?
In the Friday papers, and if you get your emails in-house, you would have known from the guys who sell the bonds. So it's inexcusable. I have a lot of respect for Mayberry and all they've done. And one thing, and I took everything Gary and Chris and Mark and Paul, who was my boss, said very seriously. And one thing they said was, and don't hold this part against me in light of MPC, but they said, well, Gary said specifically, he reads every prospectus within 24 hours. Himself.
Straight up.
All right?
That's why I'm kicking myself, because I read MPC's.
I didn't.
I didn't say anything. I didn't write anything.
Maybe one or two I never read. I think I didn't read everything fresh either. But
no,
that's
I had to read
story.
that, but yeah.
But, and that stuck with me because it became the thing of, this man's CEO, he's taking the time to read the prospectus in 24 hours because he could very well be in a situation with other bigwigs and they said to him, boy, what should I do with this money? No. He has to have an answer. So then I said, if I want to be like that or surpass that or whatever, then I need to have answers.
1000%.
You know
I have
what I mean?
another quote from Gary, but I don't know if it... Keep going. It's not... It wasn't made to me.
Yeah.
I'm just aware of it. I can kind of paraphrase it. What he said was somebody was asking somebody else. It was one of those ad hoc investment groups done on WhatsApp, and somebody was saying, somehow he got added to it, and they were saying, Gary, what do you think about blah, 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 blah. And I'm paraphrasing, so Gary, if you listen to this, I'm sorry if I got your words wrong. But what he said was essentially, if you go out and you've done your research, you figured out something, you've seen that there's money behind it, why on earth would you have done that work and just give it away for free?
Fair.
Yeah, and I understand and respect it.
Yeah.
So, you're right. It's such a simple thing. It seems almost common sense. If I'm going to something I don't know, the first thing I do is research it. Yeah. And if I'm employed in an industry that my day-to-day involves me knowing certain things, research, knowing your stuff, making the time is where the money is.
That is where the money is. So when people say there's no money in this business, I'm saying, what business are you in? Because there may not be money for you because you can't answer somebody's question. And if they, and it's money, right?
It's straight money.
So if you're even off by an inch and that person picks it up, your credibility is shot. That's it. They're going to somebody else. You know, and I mean, on Gary's point, free though, I would say this, that, I know sometimes I'll talk about stocks on Twitter, but never ever think that I'm bringing up a stock and my people haven't bought it already. Or myself. That's
a lesson.
Not happening. That's not, I'm not sharing a live pick on any.
Yeah, that's a lesson myself, and I think maybe Dan I had to learn recently. No, when we talk about things, we talk about it after we've made our moves.
You have to. You have to because the market's still relatively small and you can get crowded out.
Very easily. Very easily.
I credit those who are so altruistic and unselfish to do that kind of thing, but I'm not gonna.
The funny thing is, I don't see anybody who is altruistic and actually doing it. I see people being altruistic, but they don't seem to actually know what they're doing.
Fair. That's actually very true. Yeah. So you can talk about something if you don't do it, right?
Yeah, it's very easy to talk about something if you don't do it.
Buy it on Monday, we talk about it today.
Exactly. Exactly. But if you're really doing this, you're gonna be thinking twice before you go talk about it. Unless, of course, you buy in the US market, which is just massive. So you never have any issues.
That's a funny thing. Where people always talk about that. Then I have a favorite scene from Billions, where the lead character is saying,
Bobby at the table with all his analysts and his fund managers, and then
they're looking for a play.
He's looking for players on the market, and he sees everybody's going and somebody says, Apple. I think there's money still left in Apple.
Oh my goodness!
And Bobby turns to him and says, I pay too much money for you to tell me to buy Apple.
Yes.
yeah. That's true. Come on, man, That's true. There's something else I learned also in foreign. If you hear it on the news, you don't have to worry about it. Because by the time you hit the news, it's too late. Yeah. So if you want...
Even out here.
Yes.
I find a lot of... So that same Apple. We have some stocks on the market that investment advisors and the fund managers love.
Yep.
And so you go to them and you want a fund. So you have some money, manage it for me. I can guarantee you there are 5 stocks that I know are going to be in your portfolio.
Carriers and what?
Carriers, NCB, Sagicor, Grace. Oh yeah.
They're great dividend stocks. Not knocking any of them, right? Though there are actually great dividend stocks. Carriers is a notorious dividend stock. I'm not telling people to buy it here. I don't own any Carreras and I probably won't own for a long time. Yeah. But I'll be open. Also, I worked at Carreras, so I've said that before. Too, and that's actually where I met Rand. Rand and I met at Carreras in 07.
07,
yeah.
Go way back. Man.
Way back.
Most people don't even know that.
Yeah, believe me, but really don't know.
It's crazy.
It's strange.
Never know that half of it.
The white Roman monster. But it's. I find it to be something that originally obviously was started with sense because those companies have been strong for decades and it has morphed into laziness. Am I still, you're telling people to invest for dividends? If your job is to find me dividends, you shouldn't be thinking, boy, I also missed MPC.
Absolutely.
Right? Or you should be like us, kicking ourselves like, yo, because I don't care about dividends, but I'm not going to say no to a 9 or 10% dividend. Yeah, I go for the money.
And it's interim, by the way.
Yeah, that is the thing. Yeah,
that's the thing.
Interim, Let me bring the regular people in. Interim means that it's not the final dividend for the year. It may or may not be, but interim usually means that they're just paying one, and there's more that they can pay later on. This is a big dividend. Usually, if you have a big dividend like this, it's usually a special dividend or something. You don't have this in the middle of the year just saying, oh, let's pay you this and let's see what happens for the rest of the year.
10% on your money.
Yeah, something is happening. And if we think MPC, guys, here you're getting the free advice. We need Ryan every week. if you think MPC is, because I do think it's like another Wigton, so it's going to constantly work unless we decide to stop using electricity. Yeah, and it's the best kind of electricity. It's coming from the sun, right?
Yep.
then fine, don't buy it. But if you really think that it's going to move and you really think that it's going to pay out something and it's paying out something this big as an interim dividend, why are they going to pay out before the year done?
Exactly.
When the year done and them go final dividend, what are they going to do? Maybe they give you a little 1%. Just
There you go.
little icing on the cake.
There you go.
Yeah, but I'm known for bringing us on a tangent, so I'll bring us back. The tangent that we started on was that a lot of the industry has been lazy.
Yeah.
And I've been open in saying that I respect Ryan because he isn't as wild as me in terms of going, and he can't be because he manages bigger money. And you can't be wild with people's money. But there has been some laziness still with those people who have managed people's money. And I rate Ryan because he's not like that. He finds the money. So you're not going to get, maybe, let me not talk for your money. So maybe Ryan is not going to give you 100% next month. But if you have 20 million and you don't know this guy, learn.
Let's say, right? Because, and I want to tack on a point, read this dividends thing, because if somebody bought NCB at 30, their dividend yield now is 12%.
Yeah, big up Michael Leach.
Without doing a thing.
But that's the problem. I hear people at 200 still proclaiming, NCB dividends, and other times not even the dividend. I hear they thought that, NCB was at 30 one time. It's at 200 now. Don't make it leave you because, boy, they show the graph went up. So the rest of it, there's more to it.
Shape magic.
It's crazy.
I don't think that's a good reason to buy NCB. There are good reasons to buy NCB.
But
I don't think that's one of them.
And that's finish your point.
Because when we were buying at 30, we were saying to people that, listen, this is a stock. If all goes according to as it should, it's going to be at $500-$600 in next time. In fact, we even earmarked it at $10 by the time they go on the New York market, assuming they do.
Yeah.
One can never know if they're going to happen, but one cannot expect them to tell you what's going to happen either, right?
Yeah.
So
but you know what they tell you, right?
you make your guesses though, right?
Yeah, and they show you. They show you in their
extrapolate.
actions.
Of course.
Because, I mean, people are like talking about how what's this? Sorry, what was the ex CEO of NCB? Because he's no longer No,
he's still group. He's just
Patrick Hilton.
So Patrick, so that exact move, people are like, it looks like a move, blah, blah, blah. But if you pay attention to international companies, all they've done is created a multinational structure.
Absolutely.
Which is what you do if you're a
It's funny
multinational.
because NCB has been showing you we want a multinational structure for the longest while now.
They've been very clear.
It has been telegraphed.
Yeah.
We saw them go into Bermuda. They've bought a regional entity that they own 62% of.
Yeah.
That they're in almost all the Caribbean territories. They sponsored the Monaco Diamond League entry into the capital market.
Yes.
This is
That
not
was
a
telling.
business. This is not
that
a
was
business
telling.
that's trying to.
There's maybe 4 people in Jamaica who watch.
They're not trying to confine themselves to. They're not confining themselves to this region at all.
At all.
You know what I mean? They're in Cayman,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, there's no real capital market, so to speak, in terms of stock market in any territory but Jamaica. But still, we do know that as night follows day, it will follow elsewhere. It's a matter of whenever there's a tipping point here.
Yes.
So they are best positioned, and we've heard reports, of them trying to go into Dam Rep and other places. So I know, and so they are best positioned in my mind to take advantage of an opportunity that may come up. What's that opportunity? Nobody knows. But somebody who,
no, I don't like that. You sound like you know. You sound like you know something.
somebody who I don't know anything. But somebody who bought at 30 gets dividends at 12%. No. The question is, did they buy substantially at 30?
That is
not?
true. That is
or
true.
did they buy with money that they would probably use on a cell phone and just throw it at the market?
A small buy.
Or did they use money that they would have used to buy a small house? Because they probably had both in them.
Yeah.
So you have people have money to buy a small house, but they buy a cell phone. They invest a cell phone amount.
Yeah, that's true.
But the person who
trust me.
invested and bought a small house. So I can tell you recently, we were buying heavily at 30 and 40. We sold half at 215 just based on where we would foresee things going for the next year. But nevertheless, that is still 500% plus. And what we sold half for is much more than the initial investment.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Significantly more. A large house.
You know what I mean?
you sell half, and so yeah, you already said it. So
No, you sell half.
You sell half
because
and
we diversified.
Exactly.
And
most of the money I invested, I have more than that in it, even though I sold half. That's
in
crazy.
3.5 years.
Yeah.
That's something me and Randy do all the time. So, okay,
Yeah,
sell
no,
half.
yeah, you
and
don't make them rush
oh,
for
sorry.
you.
3 or call it 4 years if we're going to be generous. Nobody's making that kind of money in 4 years.
Exactly.
Anywhere else outside of the top level guy, even the top level guys aren't making that kind of money because they don't need to. They can make you 5% on 5 billion.
Yeah.
But that
But for all of us who are trying to emerge, we want to be finding these
Exactly.
opportunities.
Exactly.
And when you find them, did you really put something meaningful to you behind it?
All right. Well, let me. That's a good segue. Well, unless you want to say anything about your life. Your
My
background
life,
for
I
your
mean,
life.
I'm a Christian, married. I've been in this, doing this for as I said, 9 years. No kids, I have a brother. Two brothers, a sister. I mean, father not with us anymore. Mom still kicking. I don't know what else.
It's a good life. Yeah, there we go.
I love sports. I love investing in general. I love business. I don't know what else to share. I'm in politics. I'm G2K vice president.
She told me that before, comrade.
So actually, well, I probably don't want to indicate when this is being filmed, but there's a lot of activity going on.
No, man, we can tell people. So
okay.
we are recording this on the day of the PNP internal election.
Yeah,
Peter versus
presidential race,
Peter. Yeah.
One PNP versus Rise United. So a lot of us are keenly watching what's going on.
I mean, I personally think Peter will win.
I think so. I think that's a good shot. I expect the Peter to win. No, will the Peter stay there for another year plus? Let's see, right? But
Boy,
you know.
wow.
Yeah, we'll
wow.
see.
So I was using a play on the words because they both named Peter.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but no.
Well,
you
know.
said that. Wow.
One never knows.
Well,
What's to stop another challenge? Who knows?
Wow.
Who knows? It's not a political show, but
It's not. And I tried
Well,
to keep it
it's
from the
not-
parties because nobody.
Yeah, it
people
doesn't-
want that, but it doesn't help anybody really on this show.
It's not the purpose of this. I know.
However, there is some interest there because one, Peter Bunting is associated with an investment bank locally proven, which is a listed company, and it has done well for itself.
I have a cool story, Peter Bunting.
Go ahead, hit
Let me
us.
tell you.
Let's hear it.
I remember 2005 when I went to DB&G for an interview. I was like 22. Yeah, went for an interview and I never got a job. But I remember, for like those of us at that age, she was like a hero. You know, as a young black guy, done
Make
very
some
well,
money,
owning business
in
and-
finance, sell to Scotia.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at this time, you're like seeing history unfolding because remember, for all of us who were teenagers in the 90s or young teenagers, because we'd have been too young to remember FinSac and businesses going on there and all of that. So anyway, so I saw when I was walking out with the marketing manager and the operations manager. By the way, the marketing manager is actually very helpful in my life. That's Kerry Stimson. She got JMB.
Kerry Ann Stimson. Yeah, she's a marketing manager.
very helpful.
You know, big up Kerry Ann Stimson.
Yeah, big up
because
Kerry.
anytime I say anything bad about JMB online, my phone ring is her, and she.
word?
Yeah, man. You want to vex, so you can't vex when she talk to you. She knows how to manage. So big up Kerry Ann
Yeah,
Stimson.
shout out to Kerry, man. No, Kerry gave me priceless feedback after and was very helpful. But anyway, so I'm walking out. So Peter Bunting walks out of his office when I'm walking past. So I almost have like the starstruck moment when he has glasses on his nose and he's like, "How you doing?" I'm Peter Bunting. I said, "I'm Ryan Strong." I just walked out. And I never forgot that moment. So shout out to Peter. Good luck later,
Yeah, good luck.
Worth saying though.
Yeah. What a line to make me follow, eh?
Big up Peter.
Yeah, you know what? I give analysts a hard time for not. I always say, they should go out, give your view, give a sensible view, tell why you have your view. And if you get it wrong, that's fine because you get an opportunity to improve. So let me do that for this in a political forum where my personal official things, I think it's better for Jamaica. Wow. We might have to edit this, but I think it's better for Jamaica if Peter Bunting wins because one, I don't think a government should ever be comfortable. And I think the image that Peter Bunting has, I personally am happy to hear him say things like he's stepping away. He's bringing his party, if he wins, away from democratic socialism and more towards a more realistic, modern sort of thing where we have to admit it's really hard to pretend that things aren't better in Jamaica now. We are sitting on a podcast talking about the stock exchange. Yeah. And none of us are 40.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
None of us,
And we're comfortably talking about millions, right?
Yeah.
That it's hard to say that things are bad. I don't know about Bam in the background there, but none of us, I think, have white parents. We never come from the heavy, rich, long time. So we're making it know ourselves. Absolutely. So I think things are better. I think it's better for Peter Bunting to win because of where he will go and the pressure that it puts on the current government, the Andrew Holness government, because I want pressure on the government, because I want the things to be best.
Sure.
I want the best for all of us. So I am thinking it's best for us. And I will admit my bias because Peter Phillips closed the Junior Stock Exchange. I will never forgive him for that. I will never forgive him for that.
I'll never forgive him for that.
Yeah, that's unforgivable.
I've said that publicly. I think though, the outcome is what it is. I think there will be benefits whomever wins, and there'll be drawbacks whomever wins. I think for persons such as ourselves, though we may have our own convictions, whatever they may be, the primary concern is, will Jamaica benefit?
Which is all I care about.
And
exactly.
Once Jamaica benefits, then all else is second. So for me, I'm just a casual observer. As I said, I wish them all the best. If I don't have a horse in the race, as I said, I don't have a Peter Phillips story. So by that account alone, one can draw inferences. But business, right?
When we were teenagers in the 90s, he was still in politics and whatever. So yeah.
But I mean, as I said, as somebody in my industry, I have nothing but respect for Peter Bunting. So that can go on record.
Yeah, well,
straight.
Same here.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Let's leave the politics from there. So let me jump straight into it. Well, it's a good segue. The Jamaica economy. I mean, what do you think about it now? What do you think where we are? What's the outlook on it and business generally?
Right. Well, I think so. I find myself outside my house a lot these days, and so I've been working. I mean, I've had to come to realize that there are people who are full-blooded adults who have not been working for the 15 years I've been working. But in the time I've been working, 10 years ago, for argument's sake, or 12 years ago, I would not be in an Uncorked on a Monday night. You know why?
Why not?
There's no Uncorked.
That is so true.
You know what I mean?
That's so
There's
true.
no Jangas.
That's so true.
There's no, I mean, yes, Red Bones was there, but you were few and far between in terms of places you could go. Any developed country you go to, the after work scene is bustling.
That is true. That is true.
And the fact that now, when you can be in Kingston, you can go to Uncorked tonight, you can go Janga's one of a night, you can go Red Bones, you can go Pegasus, and there's several other places I have
all
named.
packed.
They're all packed.
Yeah, in fact, I'm going to add to your point and go one better because it's nice. People think, oh, let's go uptown, guys. I'm saying whatever them think, but we'll go even better. I ask people this all the time. When last you said empty KFC?
I mean, is that party keeping in there?
Every single night, every KFC pack.
Yeah.
Every single
That Friday
night.
rush on KFC.
Oh, man, they
Trust-
try.
all right.
Like, Friday's ridiculous.
All right, when last you said empty Juicy?
All right.
Long time.
Yeah, man. Things
And they're
are
everywhere.
really bad, huh? Things are
Yeah,
really
it's
tough.
awful.
Things are really rough.
It's awful. But I say so anecdotally, we are seeing people using more, well, first, having more disposable income in hand and then using more of it. Persons are less worried now about, wow, will I be able to buy lunch next week? You know what I'm saying? So you're not really feeling that pessimism. And we're too far down the road for that to change. I mean, as I said, one of those establishments I named just opened.
Janga's, I think. Janga's
just opened, and it's always full.
That is true.
It's
That is
always
true.
full, and it's not the same people going to all of these places. So when I'm on the ground, I'm looking at the economy, and I'm talking uptown, downtown, wherever I go, things are bustling.
Yeah, man.
Which says a lot to me. But
And we were speaking earlier about the growth in investing public.
yeah, it's massive.
How much an IPO would get before and how it's getting now.
Yes.
So, and you find out at all levels, uptown, downtown, the small man taking him $1,000 and go and invest.
Of course.
Yeah, man.
of course.
2 points I'll make. I'm at the first one because I know Bam was signaling to me. Guys, if you hear any thunder in the background, I think one of the Peters them drawing on him pause. It's a rainy day that we're recording. So if you hear any thunder, that's what it is. Either that or God just underscoring our point. Big up
Yes.
God.
You know what, right? It's cool.
There always. The second point I wanted to make, though, I've forgotten the point because that God point was. What had you said just now before?
No, just in terms of number of establishments, Django's being very busy
Yes.
and just opening and being viable.
And it's not the same people, and it's uptown, downtown, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
In fact, I go to the country a lot, and even in the country, I mean, it's not as bustling as Kingston, but things happening same way.
Things happening.
Yeah.
And what will happen, and I think many times when people speak about economies, I'm not an economist, so I'm not even going to speak about like fiscal policy and monetary policy. And there are people much more qualified than me to speak
Big up
about
Dr.
things
King.
like that. Big up Dr. King. Yeah, right? Big up that fucking Twitter king, right?
The king of Twitter.
So, but when we see things like infrastructure becoming a subject of like government policy as far as investments and dedicating capital towards, what inevitably happens, right? We had the highway to Ocho Rios. Sure, I mean, I remember when it was just open, I went to Ocho Rios for lunch to drive back. Before that highway, there's no way. I went to Scotches by the way. There's no way I would have made that drive, as much as I love my wife, on a casual afternoon to go out there and come back on a Sunday.
Yeah, but no, it's less like 45
like
down is a nice little drive, 45 back. Yeah.
And think about that for working.
Can you imagine?
I can leave Kingston and work in Ochi much easier than before. I couldn't do it before. I can do it now.
You couldn't do it before.
I used to spend 2 hours going from Spanish Town to Kingston. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Just for school. Just for
Yes.
school. I was happy when I started working, when Ryan and I started working at Carreras was in Spanish Town. So that was a nice little
20-25 minute breeze of no traffic. It's one straight road.
But imagine that 20-25 minutes and it was an easy ride.
Yeah.
And if we're going now to Ochi, it's just 20 minutes more than that in 2019.
Ochi. Far Ochi.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
It's crazy to me. So I feel as though those things really speak of an economy that's developing in a serious way. It's not stagnant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It's
you have
growing.
a capital market now that is able to facilitate things. So when you hear Trans Jamaica may list,
And we know what that means. Trans Jamaica will list.
That's monumental,
That is major.
Because no, yes, people will complain about the highway toll as usual, but then they're going to be like, wait,
The highway dividends.
dividends, and okay, they're charging more, so I'm earning more.
Yo, let me carry it even better. Let me carry it down to the people. 2 things for the people listening who might not know. Trans Jamaica is a toll people. If you haven't heard it, there's a story out there in the Glean. I'll put something in the show notes, just pretty much saying that the toll is looking to list as the Portmore Mapen arm of the toll. So not the Ochi arm of the toll.
Right.
The second point I want to make is this. So I remember when that toll came, right? And we used to hear the same thing. Yo, the government has sell out Jamaica. We're not even 2019 in our lifetime, I get a chance to own back that thing that I heard we never own. Nah, bro.
Yep.
So sell out and sell back.
Right? And you know we're gonna make money off it. Because hey, it's ours. Even if it's bad, it's ours. And we get to own it. I believe so, yes.
Yeah,
So
I believe
we
so.
win 2 ways. So we as invest in public, win by owning, and then Jamaica gets a piece of that.
There we go. There we go. Yeah. Things really have changed. I think the economy is looking stronger every day. And that pushes us straight into the second little point I wanted to ask right about my favorite point is we'll touch on the market later. So bull versus bear. Yeah, I know, right. I have gotten some heat in some quarters for saying that. Yeah, I have to admit, if you want to speak just in terms of what the textbook says, Jamaica is in a bull market.
Yes.
All right. If you want to speak in practical, real terms, I don't think Jamaica is in a bull market yet. And I'll say why, so I can catch a heat and you guys hear my point, right? And for you don't know, bull market just means that a lot of stocks are right. Companies are getting bigger. What Ryan was saying earlier about we are not we're growing. We were pushed down for so long. We're now growing.
Yep.
I don't think we're a bear market. I don't think we're in a bull market because I think of it like a child. If you see a child at 4 years old and then you see the same child when he's 10, you don't think, wow, you've had a really big growth spurt, but then you kind of expect it to go. I don't think that I don't think I don't say, yo, you've gotten stronger, although you have. But you're just a child, you're growing.
Yep.
Now, if I see my brother when he's 23, and him scrawny, him though look like he's 23, I see him again when he's 26, and him buff up and him go gym, you say, yo, you have gotten stronger. That now to me is what I call a true bull market, because you're an adult, you're fully formed, and then you started working on yourself to get better. In the same way, bringing it back to the market, I don't think we're in a true bull market because we're not fully formed yet.
Correct.
The whole heap of the toll just listing. America can have a bull market because almost everything over there listed. Listing is normal. They have a fully formed market, and when that fully formed market performs or overperforms, then it's bull. But we don't reach anywhere. We're just a 10-year-old. We're just growing still. So we can't say, yes, we're growing. Yes, we're growing. It look like a bull market. It's not a real bull market because we didn't even start flex some muscles yet. We think of just start export.
Yep. I mean, I don't know if Dana, you have anything to contribute to that.
No, most I can say is the other day I had a conversation with my mother's friend. oh, you do investing, then yeah, man, we're talking. And then he said he wants to talk to me about investing. So he was saying, so I'm here for the short term call. I'm not in this investing in this market for long, because just the other day it was 8. I know it's at 50. He's talking about the index there. You don't think something wrong with that? Something will happen soon. I'm like, it's completely fine. If you look at the actual companies in the market, look at the market, it's fine. We're seeing the value that was not apparent at the time, because before not much companies were listed. We started getting more listings now. Things are adding to the index. So you see that big jump, it's not necessarily that something happening and it's gone far beyond what it should be. So that's my 2 cents.
I mean, let me tell you. So when I was in the industry from like early days, so I've always, not always, but maybe a year in, I start to look at the US market, 2 years in. You'd have companies valued at 20 times earnings, 25 times earnings.
PE of 20 to 25.
PE of 20 to 25.
Yeah, everymickle.com if you don't understand.
You contrast it with Jamaica. At that time, you had NCB trading at 4 times earnings. No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Red Stripe, same, in that range. I mean, the market PE average was 7 to 9 times earnings.
Whoa.
Really?
7 to 9 times earnings. The index value of the All Jamaica Composite was 80,000.
Wow.
Now, even in the midst of that, you had companies making money. That's why I said to people, bull and bear, that's fair, but not that never intend to rhyme. But the thing is, you have at the time, you had a Lascelles, Ray Neville, that was $100 or $90 that was bought out for $700 in 6 years. But I've heard stories of people saying they were buying Lascelles at under $10, Chris Berry included. Bought out at $700. Maybe I made a ton of money from that,
Yeah.
The point I'm making, though, is that even in the midst of depressed markets, people are making money. However, for me to believe something's a bull market, it would have to be at a normal, at ground zero. As of right now, now I think Jamaica's market is fairly valid. So let's just say it has to be fairly valid. At a PE average of 7 times, it's undervalued.
Severely.
When your biggest bank was trading at 4 to 5 times earnings, you're underground.
You're below
right?
the ground.
So what I've heard people say that I agree with is that what we would have seen from about 2015, which was predicated, lest we all forget, on the Red Stripe buyout, because the market grew 50% in 12 weeks as a result of that buyout. Because Red Stripe was bought at a valuation of 27 times.
Really?
Yes, and that is what lifted the market. The numbers show it from October 2015 to December, the AGI grew, or AGCI grew 53%.
And that's the All Jamaica Composite that he's
index,
talking about. So just for context, like today, we're looking at the end of the week that contains September 6th. That same index is now the main market index. Or you answer what kind of combine? Because the junior didn't exist that much. Not the way. Which one you want?
All Jamaica Composite.
All Jamaica or the combined?
No, All Jamaica.
All right, All Jamaica index is at 571,074. Right. No.
And back then it was 80,000.
Okay.
Not 2015, but going before that. But the point is that I view what has happened as a correction.
Upward correction. Yeah, last time I mentioned that I get in trouble on Twitter. So you say that.
Correction upwards. I am not so if you have an economy that has rampant devaluation, double-digit inflation, and a depressed capital markets, and some measure of capital flight, a flat FDIs, you're not gonna, you don't, in my opinion, you don't have a premise on which, in my view, to say that you're fairly valid or anything. I mean, your economic conditions are not conducive to investor participation, which is why people are flocking to Barbados and Trinidad.
Yes.
I take another point though. In the midst of all of that, Jamaica's GDP per capita was 6,000 US. I asked my team to run some numbers last week. Jamaica's GDP is still around 6,000. It could be as high as 7. Trinidad is 14, I think. Barbados is 16. Right? Or
yeah. Now
so then it says to me that, well, okay, fine. markets have done well, people have made money, but we still don't have the spending power of our neighbors.
Exactly.
In the broader sense.
Not yet.
Not yet. So we still have a long way to go before people start saying that, we've tapped out. People now should be looking and saying, all right, what's the new opportunity? What's undervalued? What should I be trying to buy and get hold of and hold for 3 years?
Exactly.
Or even want to hold it for 6 months. But, we would see the value realized over time. What is that thing? What will benefit from the inevitable growth?
But, the problem with that is you have to understand business. You have to truly understand business from a common sense perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and anybody listen to this you think, boy, it means you have to have maybe a MBA, a PhD. You do not. If you can run a stall and sell bubblegum, if you sell bubblegum in high school, if you used to burn CD and sell, if you used to sell sweetie to your classmates, you have enough sense to understand how to find a good winner. Because you don't need to have a PhD to know that. You see, when I went to Janga's the other day, just passed by, every single table had a bottle of water, WATA on it. I don't need a PhD to know that means that Wisynco is selling people that were something that they weren't buying 3 months ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't need an MBA to know. So maybe if you're an expert, you can go a little deeper. You can start estimating a little deeper. But if you want to estimate like longer, boy, everybody drink more water, and the more bar open, the more people drink rum, smoke cigarette, drink water. You can invest against those things easily. You can invest, right now you can invest. I'm not telling people to buy Carreras. But you can invest against that if you want. You can invest against water over a 2-3 year run. Unless you think people in Jamaica are going to stop drinking water in 2 to 3 years.
No, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Or will more people stop coming to Jamaica and buy water?
What exactly, right? It just...
It's logical to me. So I look on and I'm saying... It's a cool phrase to catch on to, but
definitely, that's the
like
problem.
it's cool to say, right? But when people like us been investing for all these years, and when things were not as they are now,
exactly, and we were making money then. So
why am I going to really entertain that kind of dialogue when people telling me with authority to? I can't buy it. No, you can be buying companies at a PE of 20 and reasonably be comfortable.
Easy. Let me talk some money talk. Let me talk some money talk. Right? Sit here. Cygnus.
Yes.
Right now, I think he's hitting a PE
23, I think.
You hear the man talking. Let me talk some real money talk. I think I threw $2 million in it at 20.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine in my view. And I wouldn't do that 2 years ago. I'd have looked low, but I'm perfectly fine throwing it right now. Because I don't think they're going to stop making money anytime soon.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah, because you know what they're doing? They're funding other businesses. And other businesses are just growing.
And what are other businesses complaining about? Oh, we can't go to the bank and make money, but Cygnus will give us money.
But that's a joke. No, and then this again shows, where the economy is going. So what Cygnus has done, has lowered the bar for companies to get capital in hand, right?
Yes.
Because now you don't need to have a building and that's worth $50 million to borrow 10. No, they'll say to you, give us your receivables or we will buy your stock. So you need money to fill a container to bring it to Jamaica. They'll buy the container, warehouse it, and sell you at 18% higher or whatever it is.
Yeah, they'll say, okay, what's your profit on it? Give me a cut of your profit on it and I go and do it for you.
Yeah.
You keep your business running because I want your business to run, yeah? I gotta add to your point again. See, there's a little protection built into. Because let's say you screw up, things don't work, you can't pay the bill. It's all right. Just convert it to shares. Let me help you run this company.
That's it.
Simple.
Just like that. So again, now the barrier to entry is much lower. So you see many times you talk to people in business, they'll be like, yo, you really listen to their stories, they'll say to you, it's really man X do a thing and help me, like him take a chance, and like him lend me money and never charge me the interest for 6 months. And that helped me fill my first big order and I never look back since.
Yeah.
What Cygnus is doing is now reducing the need for companies to go to a man X, so to speak. And I tell you this now, there was a release, I don't know if you saw it in my email, from NCB that was saying that
big up Ryan email.
they're now going to start doing receivables backed lending.
Yes. Well, all right. You're touching a whole heap of points.
Yeah,
First,
right.
let me explain the short outs. I've never spoken about it. I deliberately don't tweet about it. If I can say public. So Ryan has done an email. When you just tell me about that email, when you're starting it, I want to say all night. Like
It's like 2010. Yeah, it was around when I got into business. I've been doing it since.
I feel like you're at Careers because we had this conversation in person.
All right, yeah,
and
could
then
have
you
been.
showed me it. And I was like, yo, keep doing this.
Yeah.
And he has kept doing it since then. So it's a private email list that they're going to kill you now to go on it. Yeah, if you have to ask to go on it, you're probably not going to get put on it. But it is a word. I tell you, it's a worthy email that he sends out every. And it is, guys. Well, I can't play it up or I can't play it down. It's a really good email. He's done it for years. It's on my weekly read list. Any week past that I don't read it, Monday morning come, I take the time, I go out and read it. So it's a sense. So thank you for that. Because it keeps me on point. I've always thought there's money in it and he's found the money there. The second point you mentioned though, you say the first time you mentioned
receivables?
Yes. So the receivables financing, I don't even know if I want to touch it too hard. I'm happy that NCB is going into it.
Yeah, see,
when you see these guys now looking at it, rule of thumb, if you see marketing around the idea isn't new. Rule of thumb.
Absolutely.
You hear all these banks coming together and saying we're now going to look at the SME, but it's too late. They've been looking at SME for about the last 5 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Don't be fooled. This now is marketing to make the slow guys try and catch up.
Yeah.
NCB don't play catch up.
No.
NCB don't play catch up. And when they enter a market, they enter a market. So if you are hearing about receivables financing now and you're thinking of going into it, you'd have a lot of money or be very brave.
Yep.
That you're going to need one of those two things or a mixture of both.
Yep.
So yeah, it is a well-established thing. They already know the SMEs need the money. They've been giving the SMEs the money. And as you said, Cygnus changed the entire game around SMEs.
There you go.
Because now it's just like the JSC. I don't have to ask you for the money. If you don't want to give me, I can get it cheaper elsewhere. Somebody else will give me it. Right? So in the event that you know, sorry guys, Dana is trying to give me a whole heap of trouble. What were you showing me just now, Dana? Yeah, we're going to edit all this. We're not going to edit it. We'll keep going. But the point is that you're right. NCB has changed the game.
Yes.
Completely.
Yes.
And everybody else is playing catch up. And the fact that they're playing catch up means that it's very competitive.
Yes.
Win-win for the people. You have a business, you have a good idea. Right now, you have no excuse if you have a good idea. You can put it together. All you need to do is have a good idea, have good numbers. You do need structure. This isn't a lot of things. It's
structure is everything.
You need good structure. You need to have your books in order. But once you have that in there, the only way you're not getting money is either you're either lying, scammy, or you really didn't have your books in order.
Yeah, and I think many times people go to the wrong. So you go to the wrong river, right? So, for instance, I mean, I think SMEs, commercial banks should be helpful, but if we're very honest, there needs to be something else to bridge that gap because technically. Well, which is why, I kind of segue to say, which is why I think you kind of have some brokerage houses connected to banks lending to smaller entities right now, because it may not always suit a big bank with an expensive management team or whatever to necessarily be dealing with smaller loans, as controversial as that may be. But then also, it also shows how a startup at the time, like Cygnus Credit, which is just a small part of the Cygnus group, could then focus on lending to smaller entities in that sense of things. And it will continue. You have the accesses and all of them others that have helped in that respect. But what it says in general, though, is that there is no more capital floating around to help smaller businesses rise and grow.
And that cannot be a bad thing.
It cannot be a bad
thing. I'll say less nice. What I think Ryan touched on earlier. It is not necessarily the business of a big commercial bank to lend a small man money for his business. The risk profile is different. In an ideal world, before you guys come for me, in an ideal world, like, all right, forget ideal world. In America, you just start up a little small thing, Bank of America isn't lending you the money. But your small corner bank will lend you money. Your broker will lend you the money. If you have a good little relationship with your little bank branch, they will lend you the money. Your credit union will lend you the money. You'll have specific little institutions just set up just to lend small businesses money. But you can't necessarily look for a Bank of America to do it. Bank of America is very much in line in the Jamaican context with an NCB. The fact that NCB actually helps so many small businesses is a huge deal. A major deal. And then in doing it, what they're doing is they're creating moguls.
Yeah,
They really
of course,
are.
Of course. Because we would have seen, what was the name of that show? Capital Quest?
Yes.
Capital Quest, that, that would have shined, did some
Produced by
illuminating.
the Limners and Bards, the lab.
Yes, shout out to Lab.
Yeah.
Big up, KB. Yeah, so those kind of initiatives speak in great detail about, they're focused. We're not just talking about NCB, but the broader thing is the economy now, there's more access. Are we perfect? No.
But we're working and we're getting there. And it's important that we don't give a 10 years ago cussing
To the present.
to the present. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing I'll also add, that a lot of people forget is that unlike other jurisdictions where there is no exit mechanism, we have a almost perfect exit mechanism in the junior market now. So all you really need as an investor is a business to actually perform. Because once it performs, that can be listed, and that's it. That's it. You're liquid, so you can get out if you want.
That's true. That's true.
You're in other Caribbean countries, you don't have that luxury.
That's true. Let me break it down for the people who are not into finance. All he's saying is pretty much is if you have a business, let's say you need $3 million for your business, right? You have the $3 million because you want to buy some equipment, you think you're going to make some money from it. Once you get that $3 million from the bank and you buy the equipment and you get the first contract and it starts, you don't even have to pay back the $3 million. You can list your company on the stock exchange for $3 million. This is just a random example, but for $3 million and take you can list it on the stock exchange for $9 million. Take 3 out of the $9 million and pay back NCB, and it'll be perfectly fine. It's okay. It's normal for companies to list and say part of why they're listing is to pay off a loan, pay off debt. It's perfectly sensible. We really do have a great thing in the junior stock exchange that allows us to that. So you can't really I realize I said it to you. That's the thing I have a problem with. People are using 1997 cussing for 2019 situation,
sure. And it's diametrically different.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I cannot honestly say that the banks aren't helping small businesses now. They are.
Yeah, some small businesses cuss and they have their reasons for doing it, but when I hear people cuss, I kind of leave myself out there because they're not going to cuss me to it. So
exactly.
I'll just, but I think you also have some small businesses that don't service their loans, right?
Oh, definitely.
True.
Nobody talks about that.
True. Nobody talks about that. And I'm going to say it straight. I do not know a small business. Of course, maybe I've not seen a whole lot.
Sure.
But I do not know a small business that has its books in order and has not been able to access credit.
Same.
What I know is some man just don't have their books in order and think that the bank is going to lend it anyway. The bank can't be irresponsible.
Bank's a business too.
Yes, a business too, yeah.
Technically, the bank has borrowed money from people to lend to others.
Exactly. They have to be responsible with it.
Yeah, because they're paying us interest. It may not be a lot, but they're still paying interest.
0.64%.
You multiply that by billions. It's still tidy because they have staff, they have utilities, they have property tax. Asset tax.
Oh,
God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they have expenses too. It's not because I'm part of a group that has a bank, but it's just thinking as somebody who is an investor in banks.
Well, that's true too. Yeah,
I don't want to go to an AGM and have to be asking Patrick, well, what happened to this $1 billion loans that disappeared because 100,000 small businesses not using the money, right? Like, we're being benevolent. That's $1 billion of our profits gone.
Exactly. And he couldn't say, well, we thought it was. As one listed,
trying to help Jamaica now. Come on, let's balance our interests.
Company said, shareholders should look at the general benefit to the Jamaican economy.
Hey, come on, guys. When somebody loses their job because of that, you're going to take money out of your pocket to take care of them and you don't know them?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, let's just dial it back and let's just look through the eyes of rationality.
Yeah, in fact, you know what? Let me drag Ryan into some trouble because you touched some of the things I mentioned. Recently. Yeah. So I got one random tweet the other day say, we do need banks to lend SMEs more.
Sure.
So I said, one of the best ways is just to pay them. And by pay, I mean in a financial way. The government shouldn't take up the money, but when the government gives a tax break, they are literally giving up money. So on a macro scale, it's just like as they're paying. So I think the government should maybe give financial institutions who have to pay that asset tax a little break on the asset tax, but tag that break to you can get. So let's say I'll give you a 5% break on your asset tax if you raise the amount of companies that you give loans to by 15%, or something like that. You get me? Now I got a lot of backlash for it because the thing everybody think, boy, them gonna raise it and then them gonna start lose money. And I'm wondering, why would they lose money? Why would they suddenly start to give people who aren't credit worthy credit just to get a tax break? Remember, I said at the end of the day, them still have to turn around and answer to us, you know.
Exactly. Of course.
Moreover, with IFRS 9 now, them can't even wait and just don't recognize it. Them have to recognize bad debt very, very quickly.
Yep.
So they're going to still be, you know what they're going to do? You know what I think is going to happen? They're going to put a lot more energy into corporate financial literacy. You have a small business, here's how you have to learn how to do your books. Here's a little course to put your thing together. And once you have that,
JMB doing that now.
They're doing it now?
JMB, they have the SME, they're working with Branson. They have a SME workshop place where they send out people and you go and you liaise with the business and you help them sort out their books and get them to a point where they can get a loan from JMB.
And I expect that once, you know how it go already, once they start doing it, somebody else is going to start doing it. Because JMB is just big enough to be annoying.
Or maybe somebody else doing it already and JMB is catching up.
I'm sure people are doing it because, you know what, big up Simon. we went to Stocks on the Rocks, and one of the things I tweeted also that one of the things that's impressed about with seeing Simon was that he said, that like when he asks questions on Twitter, he really don't know, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not like Simon. A lot of times when I ask, I done the research already. Yeah, and I ask a question, so I'm not asking blindly. Although sometimes I do act like I'm blind to it. This is one of those cases. I'm not dumb. I know what I'm saying. It didn't come out of nowhere. So, but I was very surprised at the backlash that I got. That's why I made a follow-up tweet, although it wasn't linked to it, obviously. But to say that if Audley Shaw had tried to do the junior stock exchange now, every single person would detail to him why it don't make sense and why it can't work.
But that happened, you know.
I know it happened. I know it happened, but I am wondering how he had because he took balls to push it through against all of the people saying no, it can't work.
No, it was quite an accomplishment that he and his team pulled off. Full credit to them. It has unlocked a lot of equity in this country.
Millionaires.
Unlocked more taxes.
Absolutely.
Imagine that.
In 10 years, what has contributed to our tax base like that in 10 years?
Nothing.
Can anybody tell me?
Nothing.
And I say that with the bias of somebody, not in politics, somebody in the industry.
Boy.
You know, that is what. And there are people, and you know, who share the PMP sympathies who have come out and said they do not support the winding up of the junior stock exchange at the time.
Well, I am open about my bias in that it was shut down and it was a mistake to have shut it down.
It was a mistake, and I'm glad that good sense eventually prevailed.
Yeah.
We were saying something though that I wanted to touch on. I don't know if it was JMB. I don't think it was JMB. It was something else. We literally were just talking. Oh, the asset tax. By the way, you know the Minister of Finance follows you, right?
You're gonna get him in trouble. You're gonna get him in trouble.
He does follow you. But listen,
hold on. Let me big up my MP.
Yeah.
Let me big up my MP, the current Minister of Finance.
Big up.
Yeah, I rate you as
Black royalty.
Yeah, the carpet god. Yeah, carpet god. but yeah, I have so much respect. And here's why I have the respect, guys. Yeah. I know with Jamaica, we tend to be very silly. I would go, oh, it must be a labor I think. No. Here's why I have respect for him. That guy was a corporate exec in a very, 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 very well-paid job.
Yep.
Very, 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 very well compensated. I won't go into man history.
Yep.
You want to do research? Look up Epley.
Yep.
Very, very, very well compensated. And that man chose to walk away from that and go into a stupidly senseless job of stress, being the Minister of Finance for a country that is under over 100%
debt to GDP.
Yep. And him decided to take that on. I rate anybody with that. Yep. And what he has brought to the role in a little time the man has been there has been amazing.
Yep.
The BOJ is on the path, although I know he didn't start it, but he has continued it. He's on the path to moving out. The junior market is doing well. The man gave us tax breaks that we never see before.
Wigton.
Yeah, man, no, big him up.
Yep.
Wigton. Yeah, and I hear more coming. I hate this. I don't want to say the wrong thing because here I got to say things I'm not supposed to say. But I think it has been mentioned publicly. Jamaica Mortgage Bank is good. I hear people talking about obviously the Trans-Jamaica Highway.
Yep.
I see we're acting like we have a finance director now.
Absolutely.
Handling our finance.
Absolutely.
I am proud of that. I rate him for that.
Absolutely.
And thank you and congrats. And I hope my tweets don't bother you too much. And if you screw up I will be the first person to say heavy lies the crown. No bias. Heavy lies the crown. Yeah, man.
No question. I mean, we're talking about an eminent, accomplished individual. So, listen, at the end of the day, PNP, JLP, good people getting involved. I have no complaints.
Yeah, man,
people
I respect that.
Bring something to the table. Okay, it's all selfless. Listen, I mean, there's no real gain in politics once you're doing it right anyway. So, you always have to applaud persons who leave well-paid occupations
to do that,
to then come and serve their country.
Yeah, in fact, let me not be biased. I had to big up the new BOJ governor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for stepping away from leading Sagicor Group. Yeah, another well-paid, highly influential position, and instead choosing to go into a high-stress job, which is BOJ governor. Yeah. A
lot of people don't know that Mr. Byles actually was chairman of Red Stripe and a pretty decent shareholder. That's public, at the time of the buyout. So, and he was, I think, chairman for 15 years. So, they're about 13 to 15 years.
And then within the Sagicor Group also a strong shareholder.
138 SL, he never had, I don't think he has shares in that, but he was chairman up till when he left. And
in what?
138 SL, recent development in the last year and a half. So, no, I mean, as I said, when you see persons of that quality getting involved in the public sector in whatever capacity, it's to be applauded, because that whole sense of advocacy and that whole sense of country above self to an extent has somewhat been lost, I think, on our generation. So now I think persons like us should get involved where we can. But
I hear you, but I mean, it's money first. It's money first.
We can do it. We can do a lot in our own way. So and I need to applaud you guys for what you're doing with education and financial literacy, because that is, my view, one of the things that has been missing for some time, and the fact that you're bringing knowledge to the populace is to be applauded. So
thank you for that, sir, and the same to you too, because you have been doing it. One thing I've always said is how often inaccessible the world of finance is. I wrote in my very first Observer column, I called it the Thieves' Cant, which is a little thing I researched.
K-A-N-T, right?
No, C-A-N-T, but it has an old meaning. I think it's related to K-A-N-T too. Yeah, but it's in Britain and in Europe. Thieves used to have a little language that they spoke amongst each other, so you would know. So pickpockets in a crowd, they can signal each other, they can do a little language that nobody would know. I don't want to say financial thieves or not, but in the same way, I find the world of finance buttonholes itself because we use a language in finance that alienates the public.
Sure.
And so one of the things I've been adamant about is bringing the public in. And I find that is something it's passionate to me because I can't figure out why I do it. I don't do it for the money. It is stressful. I don't want nobody can come on Twitter. I can trade without talking to anybody.
Absolutely.
I choose to do it, and I ask myself all the time, but it's a passion. I can't drop it, and I want people to get better. Nothing sweet to me. Like I don't even show it. I keep hearing I should do ads with it. The greatest DMs I receive are people who say, never know nothing last year October. Read your blog, follow your tweets, trust you a little bit, and try a little thing. 100 grand. I even tell some of the big stories. I want to tell the realistic stories. 100 grand is 150 grand now. You know how much an extra 50 grand mean to a man when 50 grand is a monthly pay? Him have 3 months pay now and invest 2 months pay. I feel even better. Girls say, I knew nothing. And me and my friend, we follow you, we follow it up, and we try what you're saying, and we put in 100 grand each, and now we have 300 odd grand.
Yeah, I mean, listen, for me, it was, so I don't really take on a lot of new clients, but a friend used to message me, and if anybody messages me and asks for information, I have no issue sharing. And said to me, what should I do? And he would just message me every so often. So I tell him, not even remembering what I told him. So last week I saw him at football, and he said to me, boy, he was on his face. He had $100,000, and him say, I'm just going to try it because some other things hadn't worked out. And like he was properly depressed. And he said he has 600,000 now. And I saved his life. I was like, brethren, I don't know.
Brother,
that's kind of big.
Brother, so the things people tell me, brother, it touched me. I won't lie.
It touched me, no. And he's like, I just want to express my gratitude in some way. I say, Your story is enough. That's made my
Trust
year.
me.
You know what I mean? That's made my year.
Yo, I think about
That's
it.
why I do it.
Yeah, I think about it. Then I tell me safe start because you start following me.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that blows my mind.
Everybody around me was telling me, yo, start. My godfather, he's in investing. He made a lot of money off of it. He said, yo, man, start, whatever. Friend Chadwick, he was like, yo, then I start. I take my scholarship money and I invest in, and I don't really know what to do. You did this in school, so maybe you know what to do. I never know anything. Follow Randy, and Randy, what he gave me more than anything was direction. So this is what you look for, and here I am now.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah, it's just a thinking. That's
is
all I
big.
try to put in everybody, just a thinking, which is why I don't try to get people. I don't alienate people. I don't want to go too hard in numbers. For the people watching, let me drop a little shade. I'm not stupid, no. I only act like I'm stupid. I know the complicated stuff. I just don't want to go into it with regular people. If you and me sit down, Ryan and I can sit down, have a drink, and we can talk. We can talk about company. We can go deep into the company. Like if I start telling people about the debt to equity ratio, what I mean, what I mean to
That's
you,
French, right?
Yeah, what I mean to you. But if I say, yo, every new bar sell water, that mean more to everybody, right? Now, if you're an expert, you can carry that further, and that's cool. We can have the conversation elsewhere. But for my thing is to bring everybody in. So that's what I'm happy with. I honestly feel good when I hear that stuff, and I'm happy that I hear it's not me alone hearing it.
No, I mean, as I said, I don't really, because I've kind of managed the client inflow, but that one really touched me because, I mean, yes, things okay now, but I remember a while, not even that long ago, I mean, whenever I left our place, things were challenging at times, and you said, boy, you know, it wasn't like I'd have a brethren that could have been like, yo, what should I do with this, or how should I invest this, or what should I do when I eventually come into something to invest? You kind of have to figure it out yourself when you have mentors in the business and all that. So to be able to help somebody know was very important to me, and that's actually what informed like my sharing on Twitter, because I've been on Twitter for years talking about money. I don't know what led to that one tweet about Jamaica and investing that just kind of caught wildfire. But listen, you have to understand, for me, I've been doing it for years, but I just remember saying, you know what, if it's one time I can afford for the average person in Jamaica to not, if I can't afford for an opportunity to pass, it's no. You know, I said, you know, and I just spent the little time to share it because I said, you know what? If one person benefits, then it's worth it.
Yeah, and it has been
worth it. If one person starts, it's worth it. So I'm grateful.
Yeah.
So when you link me, I say, yo, I'd have to make myself available.
No, I'm happy. I'm happy that you came. Because for me, Dan and I talk about it all the time. One, we don't want to turn. It's not an interview podcast.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's not a news podcast. It's not an interview podcast. But there's some people whose voices I think deserve some amplification, and yeah, it's good to have it. And I don't want a conversation happen. So I am thankful that you came here. I think we can almost wrap. I like to the thing at the end where we ask, especially since we have an actual investment analyst here.
Let's do it.
Tell me your picks, Brethren. Let's hear what we need for buy. What do you have in mind? You always met Danai start off first. People talk to me. People tell me that I always met Danai talk first, which is true. Because one, I'm pushing Danai to talk more on the podcast, right? Two, I guess it's easier. We'll talk about stuff. I never sell my picks. I'll tell you something that I like now. I can't say it. I'm realizing I need to be careful with my language because I am not an investment advisor. But I personally am excited about buying QWI when it lists. You guys have heard me talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
I still... Pause. Good tangent since we have you here. How you feel about the Jam Tea directors selling? Can you talk about that?
I don't know enough about it, to be very honest.
Me neither. But
I don't know enough. I can't even speak. I can't speak to it because I don't know. So I haven't even. And I could call either the Johns and ask, but I just haven't.
All right. That's cool if you can't touch because we don't know.
I just don't know. That's really cool. Why I don't. Yeah. So if I
None
knew,
of us know
I knew, I would comment, but I just genuinely don't know.
All right. So for me, I still love Jam Tea. I'm gonna put money in there right now. I'm watching to see what's happening with QWI. Definitely buying QWI when it comes. If any MPC, anybody want to sell any, I'd buy it. I said the Q look dry.
So
right?
I ran the stealing my picks though.
Oh yeah. I guess all easy ones out of the way. You ever go one more? Let me go one more good one. One more good one. I can say. Well, I don't want. I'll leave Blue Power for that night.
Blue Power fair.
Has anybody run their numbers? Like, what's the soap division's numbers alone?
Yo, Blue Power is the lumber company.
Is it?
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, in terms of how much money they're getting from soap versus the lumber.
Yeah, man. The lumber company
Lumber is the
Blue
money?
Paul. Yeah, man. Lumber is the money.
Heavy money for them.
You're joking. I need to look at that.
Blue Power is
I never knew that.
lumber company.
Yeah, so people are asking me if, so this is good, I can actually talk about Blue Paw for you.
Oh, here we go.
If-
Hey.
People are asking, so they're not going to report it anymore. I promise you, if they stopped reporting lumber, it's consolidating the lumber division, that is tanking. The amount of money they're pulling from the lumber is so much a part of, 70% almost there.
You're serious?
Yeah, man.
I never knew
Yeah,
that.
man. Something like that. 70 to 80%.
Most of the money is coming from lumber.
I had no idea.
So
Yeah,
they-
man. I thought soap would have been big.
So to me,
Lumber.
it's a master play because the tax revenue, how much money they're putting to taxes when they finally go into 10 years, is most of it is lumber. Most of it is lumber. So
Yeah.
if they spin it off and list that, then there's the tax revenue they're saving. The tax revenue, the tax they're
Them all the
saving.
juice, bro. Yeah, well, yeah, the taxes.
The taxes
so
they're
it's 70%
saving
of the company is the lumber.
The taxes they're
The
saving on that.
taxes, yeah.
So when they finally start paying full taxes, then it's just on the soap division, and that's not most of their money.
Oh, wow. That is something that I never even thought
And then
about.
that untaxed part is going to grow now.
Yeah.
So the amount of money pulled in because they wanted acquisitions, they want to grow the company organically. So splitting it off, that's great for me.
That's a cool play.
Yeah, man. Because the revenue on lumber is much higher. The margin on lumber, I think, is lower. But, all right, I have the 2018 numbers up in front of me. They made 115.9 million profit in 2018, and lumber was 62 mil out of that. Soap was 53.9. Now, soap we know has fallen, lumber has grown in that time.
That's what's happening. I need to run the numbers.
Yeah,
Okay.
man. Yeah, man. These numbers are interesting. So, lumber is a company.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting. That'll be a startup now.
Yes. On its
Technically,
own.
like,
Yeah,
just,
on
you
its
know,
own, tax-free.
tax-free.
Correct. But of course, Blue Paw will still...
Oh,
So,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't expect them to hold less than 50. I'm looking at 80%.
Yeah,
So-
makes sense.
Yeah.
So 20% hits the market, but then you have the it's not going to be a pari passu thing.
It has to be. In terms of what?
The existing shareholders into Lumber Depot.
I don't know. We don't know. I'll be open and say I'm gambling on that. which is why we bought Blue Paw shares. But the X-date passed.
So
I
yeah,
see.
we got some shares.
You got some.
We're not sure how the transfer will happen. Expect like a dividend in specie or something like that. But yeah.
So what else you like?
You stole my easy one. Ah, God. Let me search. Sorry.
For what? Well, in the meantime, then I search is what you,
Well,
what you like.
Well, everyone should know I like Lasco Manufacturing. The bet is they will grow their revenues. They will go to the bottom line. But even if they don't, I still think the efficiency from the expanded warehouse and having all their manufacturing in one space will continue to drag expenses down. It's a bit of a gamble. I mean, it's a 7 billion revenue company. They make $1 billion profit. The margin is 14 to 15% net. Wisynco is 11. Nobody else is in double digits.
That's true. They're yeah. And that's, I believe, is a function of them having their own their own products. Anytime you have your own products with
Yeah.
good distribution,
Yeah.
you get a nice
It
margin.
makes a big difference.
How do you feel though? I mean, I'm agreeing with Last M. I always had this thing that Last M is protected by Last D.
Yeah, because everything they produce are distributed.
Can I tell you a story that I don't know if Last D is a very good distributor?
I don't think they are, but
I
I
don't
think
think they are
they're
either,
a
to be
protection for Last
Last
M
M.
because Last M
Products in the
can
market?
Last M can have a gap. They can go, even if things are bad, we push this last thing to you because you have to buy
You
it
have to
from
buy
us.
it and push it off.
But I guess what I'm saying is suppose Last D was a better distributor, wouldn't they have better penetration?
Definitely.
Yes. Yeah, no doubt.
Definitely.
No doubt. But it's
And
hard to beat
last
with
time
Wisynco
would be
machine.
growing so much if last year was a better distributor.
I
Yeah.
think so because I can tell you of products that they distribute to others that people aren't as happy with.
And you look on the Wisynco switch with what was it again?
The last ice cream.
The ice cream. Yeah.
Yeah. They've lost a few things to
Yeah, man,
Wisynco.
there was a company they used to distribute for, and they're no longer, and Wisynco took it up. It's on
just-
Wisynco's portfolio now.
Exploded, right?
It's doing well.
So my picks aren't very, sexy. As I say, I like Last M. I personally have taken a sizable bet on it. I like AMG. I still think
that's both
AMG
of
has
us.
to figure themselves out.
Yeah, I took a small bit and I've kept it.
I'm probably going to double down again next week.
It's a good time to
Yeah,
double
I'm
down.
going double down.
In my opinion.
Yeah, man. And the last one was Last M AMG. Actually, very boring. Scotia. Scotia.
Talk about the Scotia
I
play.
don't find much informed people liking Scotia, and I know you're informed. So
I don't. I've never been a buyer before, and I've always kept my eyes on it. And their capital adequacy ratios relative to NCB have, they're better. NCB Bank now, not Capital Markets or anything.
NCB Bank itself, yeah.
And listen, what's the downside, right? How much downside is there with this international bank? And further, I'll get dividends of 3-4%.
Yeah.
And
Ryan hiding something there. We're talking to them. Ryan setting himself up for a buyout.
Well, I don't know, but I just think it's a good stock and company.
Yeah, man, somebody buying Scotia in the next year or two.
I just want to be there when the role is called up yonder.
Yeah. All right. I have to be very clear with the listeners because I know people do buy when we mention things. Guys, the Scotia play is a very risky play. They may not buy out. They may just choose to remain in Jamaica for the next 10 years. The dough must get bought out. They could get bought out and the offer is not good. That is a riskier play. The rest of them, I trust Ryan.
Everything's a gamble because at the end of the day, it's not like I'm just doing it from the stock picker's perspective and trying to find some undervalued gems. Kind of like when Berger, when it was 3.
Yeah.
And Supreme Ventures when it was 290 or whatever.
Worked.
It wasn't like people were talking about that. NCB was still an option, but
people weren't talking about NCB below. Below $100. Nobody was talking about NCB.
Exactly.
Really.
So I have NCB now. I have others now, and I just said, listen, I need some newer picks to try and see if I can do something else with them.
I like that Scotia bet. When we turn the mic off, you talk about that Scotia bet.
Yes. Anything else?
Yeah. So how I trade, I look for future picks. So I say, I'm working with this now, and when this done, I need something to put the money in at that time. So I'm looking at separate. I spoke to Randy about this. Separate in the future.
Yeah.
So at some point, when the expense line from the closure of the sugar and the sugar money not being good for them right now, when that happens, when that's off the books, then I think separate can turn around. They have the 185 million spend on the consolidation of the milk, the dairy area.
Okay.
So when everything bad is off the books, I think that's when they're going to turn around and start giving some proper profit.
Separate. All right, let me. Oh, go ahead. Continue.
Look at Q4 last year when they're in the unaudited. They reported how much million in profit for that Q4, and in the audited it was 92 million. It was 280 million in Q4, and audited numbers were showing 92 million in profit in that Q4 alone, and a lot of it was sugar. The sugar was
causing issues. Yeah.
If you look at their revenue now, if you look at their profit now, the last profit is strong, more stronger than 92 million. And say you take off the sugar and that 185 spend, that's looking really good for them in my opinion. So,
all right. I'm going to add to your separate point, 2 points. One that, well, just to simplify, separate for the listeners, separate has an old sugar mill, old sugar company, has made their money. The MD, Richard Pandoy, shout out to Richard Pandoy, used to be my boss.
Big up Richard.
Yeah, man. Richard. I rate Richard. I'll leave it there. But he has revitalized, I think, Seprod. But that part of Seprod was just beyond revitalization. And he's been very open about the fact that he wanted to close the sugar factory if they couldn't meet certain performances.
Yep.
And they couldn't, and so he's closing. And it's like a 300-odd million hit that they take just to keep it open. So closing it is cool. But I think they're going to close it. It's not closed immediately. It's going to take a couple of quarters to close. So don't go by it expecting it to close immediately. These things don't close quickly. The spend is going to be there for a little while. Here's a second point for Seprod though. Big up my lawyer friend. I won't say her name. But here's a second point for Seprod. They have very interesting moves that they're doing in the region in all other areas of their business. Milk, wheat, rice? Did they say? Grains, milk and grains, they're doing some very interesting things there.
And they're working with the coconut.
So Seprod is interesting over the next, you're right, there's a couple of picks, a good pick in a few quarters. Yeah, that's actually a very nice one. Now we've given them the money, I definitely can't, I can't tell nothing else. So I think we'll wrap it there. I'll give you guys a nice hour and a half. Thank you, Ran, 5 Soleil on Twitter for showing up.
Big up. My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, I've been Randy at RT Row on Twitter if you want to ask me the questions that I can or can't answer. And
I've been Danai at H Danai. Sorry for cutting off Randy at the start.
that's fine. That's right. On a day like today, Dana is a very powerful name to have, so you can do that. Don't be washed up, all right, Dana? Thank you, guys. That was earnings season this week. See you next week. All right? Thank you.
Big up.